June 27th, 1884, Carthage, Illinois. 200 men storm in a jail in the dead of night. Their faces are blackened with mud. They fight through a wooden door. Inside, a man who claimed to speak face to face with God is fighting back with a small smuggled pistol. He's overwhelmed. Shot multiple times, he falls from a second-story window. He is 38 years old. 14 years before that night, he was a poor farm boy with a wild story. Golden plates, he said, buried in a nearby hill. Today, the church he founded has 17 million followers, missionaries in 160 countries, and a financial empire with over $100 billion. How does a barely literate farmer become a prophet, a mayor, and a general, then die in a hail of bullets at 38? This is the story of Joseph Smith. December 23rd, 1805, Sharon, Vermont. Joseph Smith Jr. is born in a rented farmhouse, the fifth child of Lucy and Joseph Sr. They are tenant farmers. They are poor, always moving, always owing money. This is the world Joseph grows up in: debt, displacement, and a desperate search for something solid to hold on to. In 1815, a volcano erupts in Indonesia. The ash cloud circles the globe. The following year, 1816, becomes known as the year without a summer. In New England, snow falls in June. Crops fail 3 times. The Smith family loses their farm. Joseph's father walks to Palmyra, New York, alone, searching for a fresh start. The family follows in early 1817. Joseph is 10 years old. They arrive with almost nothing. Palmyra sits in a region historians call the Burned Over District. The name comes from the waves of religious revivals so intense that preachers said there was no unconverted soul left to burn. Methodist, Baptist, Presbyterian, each one claiming to have the truth. For a boy like Joseph, poor, uneducated, searching, this is both exciting and deeply confusing. At 14, Joseph reads a verse in the book of James: "If anyone lack wisdom, let him ask of God." Joseph takes this literally. Spring 1820. A morning in the woods near the Smith farm. Joseph later calls this place the Sacred Grove. Here he kneels and prays. What happens next becomes the foundation of everything that follows. Joseph says he sees a pillar of light descend through the trees. 2 figures appear. He identifies them as God the Father and Jesus Christ. He asks which church to join. The answer, according to Joseph, is none of them. All of them are wrong. I asked which of these sects was right and which I should join. I was answered that I must join none of them, for they were all wrong. Joseph tells people what he saw. The reaction is swift and harsh. A Methodist preacher dismisses him. Neighbors mock the family. At 14, Joseph becomes a target. His claim isolates him, but it also gives him a sense of destiny. 3 years later, September 21st, 1823, Joseph prays again, this time alone in his bedroom. An angel named Moroni appears. He says, telling him about golden plates buried in a nearby hill, an ancient record written by people who lived in the Americas long before Columbus. Joseph goes to the hill the next day. He finds a stone box exactly where the angel said it would be. He cannot take the plates yet. He must return to the same spot every year for 4 years. He does. November 1823. Joseph's older brother Alvin dies suddenly at 25. He was the hardest worker in the family, the one building them a real house. At the funeral, the preacher suggests Alvin must be in hell because he was never baptized. That moment haunts Joseph for years. It drives one of the most distinctive teachings, baptism for the dead, the idea that the living can perform saving ceremonies on behalf of deceased relatives across generations. Joseph retrieves the plates and moves to Harmony, Pennsylvania, to escape the pressure in New York. He begins translating. According to the witness, he places a seer stone in a hat, buries his face in it, and dictates words that appear to him. A man named Martin Harris writes down every word. By June 1828, they have completed 116 pages. Martin Harris begs to take the manuscript home to show his skeptical wife. He is certain it will persuade her.
Joseph, let me take the pages home. She does not believe. When she holds this in her hands, she will understand.
Martin, I am uneasy about this. Let me inquire of the Lord.
Joseph reluctantly agrees. The pages are lost, never recovered. Joseph is devastated. The angel removes the plates and the seer stone as consequence. Months pass before Joseph can begin again. In April 1829, a schoolteacher named Oliver Cowdery shows up at Joseph's door, having heard about the plates. He offers to help.
I believe you, Joseph. Tell me what I can do.
From April to June 1829, Joseph and Oliver work at a pace that astonishes everyone around them. Joseph and Oliver complete what becomes the Book of Mormon, over 500 pages in roughly 60 working days. During this period, Joseph reports another vision, John the Baptist appearing near a river to bestow priesthood authority, the power to baptize. March 1830, the Book of Mormon is printed. The cost is paid for by a mortgage on Martin Harris's own farm. It presents itself as an ancient scripture, the second witness to the Bible, written by prophets who lived in the Americas. April 6, 1830. Joseph and 5 others meet in a farmhouse in Fayette, New York, and finally organize a church. Joseph is 24 years old. Almost immediately, Joseph is arrested, charged with being a disorderly person. It is the first of more than 40 arrests he will face over the next 14 years. Most charges are dropped, but the pattern is set. Joseph is a public figure now, and public figures collect enemies. Joseph receives a revelation. Gather the believers. The destination is Kirtland, Ohio. By the time he arrives, hundreds have already converted. Then Sidney Rigdon, a famous preacher with his own large congregation, joins the church, and his entire flock follows with him. The church grows rapidly. Joseph begins building a temple. The members are desperately poor. They donate, labor, and work through winter. The Kirtland Temple takes 3 years to complete. In summer 1813, Joseph travels to Missouri. He stands in Jackson County and declares it Zion, the place where Christ will return and the holy city will rise. Some members move west immediately. The church now operates across 2 distant centers, creating logistical strain and growing local hostility. March 1832. Hiram, Ohio. A mob drags Joseph from his bed in the middle of the night, beats him, and covers him in boiling tar and feathers. His infant son is exposed to the cold during the attack. The child dies days later. The morning after the attack, Joseph stands at the pulpit and delivers a sermon. Witnesses report that some of the men who attacked him are seated in the audience. The situation in Missouri grows worse. Church members are expelled from their homes. Properties are burned. Local fears center on the church's expanding political influence and the sheer blood of settlers arriving from outside. Joseph organizes a militia called Zion's Camp. Over 200 men march from Ohio to Missouri to protect church members under attack. They never fight a battle. Cholera breaks out and 14 men die. But the march becomes a defining test. Most of the men who survive it go on to become the church's senior leaders. March 1836, the Kirtland Temple is dedicated. Members describe visions, angels, and speaking in tongues. For Joseph, this is vindication. Joseph is building a church and an economy. In 1837, he founds the Kirtland Safety Society, a financial institution that issues its own currency. Then a nationwide banking panic hits. Institutions across America fail. The Kirtland Safety Society collapses. His members lose their savings. Families are ruined. Some of Joseph's closest former allies turned against him.
You are a fallen prophet. You led us into ruin, and we followed you. That will not happen again.
This period becomes known as the Great Apostasy. Dozens abandoned the church. Some threatened Joseph's life. January 1838. Joseph flees Kirtland in the middle of the night. He rides to Missouri. His dream of building Zion in Ohio is over. Thousands of church members flood into the state. Local political fear, religious prejudice, and land competition all converge. Violence erupts across multiple countries. October 1838, Missouri Governor Lilburn Buggs signs a formal order. He declares the Mormons must be treated as enemies and must be exterminated or driven from the state if necessary for the public good. October 30th, 1838. Hans Mill, a mob attacks a small settlement. 17 people are killed, including children. November 1838. Joseph is arrested on charges of treason and taken to Liberty Jail. Liberty Jail is a dungeon, underground, freezing. The ceiling is so low a grown man cannot stand upright. Joseph is held there for 6 months. While Joseph is imprisoned, the rest of the church is expelled from Missouri entirely. They cross the frozen Mississippi River into Illinois. From his cell, Joseph writes to his followers. One letter is raw with desperation and then with resolve.
O God, where art thou? How long shall thy hand be stayed? Remember thy suffering saints.
He got a reply, My son, peace be unto thy soul. Thine adversity and thine afflictions shall be but a small moment, and then, if thou endure it well, God shall exalt thee on high. After 6 months, the state moves to transfer Joseph to a different county for trial. During the transfer, the guards drink heavily. According to the record, they provide Joseph and his companions with horses and look the other way. Joseph rides for days, exhausted and weakened, until he reaches Illinois and finds his family living in tents. Joseph leads his followers to a swampy stretch of land along the Mississippi. They call it Nauvoo, a name Joseph says means beautiful peace. Within 5 years, it becomes one of the largest cities in Illinois, bigger than Chicago. Joseph is now the mayor, the chief judge, and the lieutenant general of a state-authorized militia, the Nauvoo Legion, numbering 2,500 men. He is building a theocratic city-state. Joseph begins a new temple, grander and more elaborate than Kirtland. Alongside its construction, he introduces new and distinctive teachings. One of the most distinctive teachings Joseph introduces in Nauvoo is baptism for the dead, the idea that the living can be baptized on behalf of deceased relatives, extending the ceremony backward through generations. The teaching traces directly to his grief over Alvin. But there is something else Joseph is teaching in Nauvoo, something kept secret from the public: plural marriage. Joseph marries between 30 and 40 women during these years, most in private ceremonies. He grounds the practice in scripture, Abraham, Jacob, Solomon, framing it as a restoration of ancient commandments rather than personal desire. He calls it an eternal sealing of families. His wife, Emma, is caught in an impossible position. Some accounts suggest she reluctantly accepted the practice at times. Others record fierce opposition. After Joseph's death, she makes her position public.
I have no knowledge of any such system. I believe it was never taught by Joseph, and I will not have it said that it was.
The historical records holds both positions at once. Emma's voice is one of the most important in that record. It is also one of the most disputed. June 1844. A group of former allies launches a newspaper, the Nauvoo Expositor. They publish one issue accusing Joseph of secretly practicing polygamy and abusing the powers of his office. One issue, the accusation spread through Nauvoo and beyond before the ink is fully dry. Joseph, acting as mayor, orders the printing press destroyed. City officials carry out the order. The press is smashed. The destruction of the press ignites outrage across Illinois. The governor calls the act an assault on the freedom of the press and demands Joseph stand trial. June 24, 1844. Joseph and his brother Hiram ride to Carthage, Illinois to face charges of riot, a bailable offense. They expect to come home the same day. As he rides, Joseph speaks quietly to the men with him.
I am going like a lamb to the slaughter, but I am calm as a summer's morning. I have a conscience void of offense toward God and toward all men.
The town of Carthage wait. The charges are bailable. He does not know he will not be coming back. Once Joseph arrives in Carthage, a new charge is added: treason against the state of Illinois. The basis? Joseph had declared martial law in Nauvoo, mobilized the Nauvoo Legion, and formed a secret political council, the Council of 50, exploring the creation of an independent government. To Illinois officials, this constitutes rebellion. Treason is a capital offense. It cannot be bailed. June 27, 1844. Late afternoon. Joseph and Hiram are held on the second floor of Carthage jail. The governor has guaranteed their safety. The guards are few. The crowd outside is not. Around 5 in the afternoon, a mob of 100 men reaches the jail. Their faces are blackened with mud. They fire through the wooden door. Hiram Smith is shot through the door and killed. Joseph fires back with a pistol smuggled into the cell. He strikes 3 men, but the mob is too large. Joseph moves to the window. Shots strike him from both inside the room and below. He falls. Joseph Smith is dead at 38. Joseph's death does not end the movement. It ignites it. His followers call him a martyr. His death becomes proof in their telling of the divine nature of his calling. Within months, the church is moving west, across plains into the desert. They build Salt Lake City. They create a society that endures for generations. Today, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has over 17 million members, a university, a global missionary force. Assets estimated at over $100 billion. Joseph Smith remains one of the most polarizing figures in American religious history. Scholars point to a man shaped by poverty, displacement, and an era of intense spiritual searching. A man who built institutions that outlasted him by 2 centuries. He offered certainty in an age of confusion, community in an age of displacement, a physical kingdom in an age of spiritual searching. He claimed to speak with God. He built cities. He commanded armies. He died in a hail of bullets. Love him or reject him, you cannot ignore the scale of what he built. And you cannot ignore the question he forces on us. What does it take to make people believe? Next on the History Library, an abandoned 9-year-old alone on a Mongolian steppe. He conquered more territory, than anyone in human history. His armies killed millions, his descendants ruled from China to Russia.